I'm Carla Wright. I'm an enterprise solutions leader at Shopify. So we're gonna start out a little bit nerdier than everyone else. We're gonna start with architecture, and then we're gonna build our way up to the customer experiences, hopefully weaving quite a bit of the same strategies that you heard today on top of that unified commerce foundation. So we're gonna explore how agile brands are delivering fast, intuitive, and scalable experiences across every device and channel. Y'all ready? Okay, so at its core, a unified commerce strategy is about having one central brain that powers everything. It's about creating a single cohesive system that integrates all of your channels, D2C, point of sale, B2B, and marketplaces. I'm not joking. So what this does is this eliminates your data silos and it enables one single source of truth for all your critical information, like customer data, inventory, and orders. And that drives accuracy and consistency across your business. Unified commerce is a fundamental shift in how we think about commerce in a world where customers expect to move seamlessly between touchpoints. Unified commerce moves businesses beyond siloed systems to a centralized platform that's going to lead to critical outcomes. The first is better buying experiences. How many times have you faced issues with inconsistent inventory counts across online, in-store, or even seen pricing discrepancies between channels, including including in-store? How many of you have been that customer that has seen the pricing discrepancy or felt it? I know I have. And these experiences, they're detrimental, and they erode your trust and damage your brand reputation overall with your customer. And like we just heard, that's really hard to come back from. Zach, can you help me out with my notes? So these are symptoms of disconnected systems, right? So unified commerce solves this by establishing that one single source of truth so that you can pull all of your critical data from it. Without that, your team is spending time fighting an uphill battle because the brand consistency is effectively not going to be there because the underlying systems are working against them. So the other outcome, and I'm very surprised I'm the first person to drop this term today, is TCO, total cost of ownership. So running your commerce in all of these siloed systems is costing you. Think about it, separate inventory systems, different order management systems. These are driving up costs because it takes time, energy, effort, and money to stitch all of that information together, especially if you're doing it manually. So your operations teams are very likely spending time on maintenance rather than on driving your business growth. So apparel brand Bobo Choices, oh God, I hope I said that right, but they saw an 80% reduction in the time spent on resolving technical issues after they went to a unified system or a unified backend. And so when you think about unified commerce, it's way beyond just operational, right? These siloed systems slow your innovation and time to market. So this new era of commerce that we are entering, it's a strategy. And it's one that is just about, it isn't just about saving money. It's about freeing up your resources and talent to focus on adding value to your business rather than just keeping the lights on. So ultimately, if you can do this, you're going to see less toil and more efficiency in your day-to-day operations. So creating this unified commerce stack, it's going to require a composable architecture, which we've heard quite a bit about today. And a composable architecture is one that allows you to focus on choosing the best tools for specific functions. So like Syndigo, for example, that can be your PIM or your PXM, rather than settling for one massive commerce monolithic platform where you have to use only the contained range of tools that they have available in their platform. And the way that you do that is by leveraging their APIs. So you can bring the right tool for the right job, and if you're lucky, pre-existing integrations already exist. And then when you're looking at this composable stack, you're going to want to make sure that the architecture is flexible and scalable, because this allows you to adapt. And so as the industry changes and as your customers' demands change, you don't have to think about completely overhauling things. You say, sure, I'll swap out this piece for that piece, and we'll see what happens. So unified commerce, it's truly a mindset shift in how you do business. And it does anchor on your fundamental architecture. And so the first action towards embracing this new era is evaluating your current tech stack. So how do we do that? So you're gonna wanna critically review what you're working with. Emphasis on the critical. Don't be kind, it's your toolkit, it's not your baby, okay? So where is the data duplicated? Where is it difficult to access information across channels? Be truly honest with yourself. And as you reflect, there may be unified capabilities that you're not taking advantage of. So you might all find some low-hanging fruit to take advantage of, depending on how well you know your current tech stack. The next thing you need to do, so what that does is that tells us all, like, where are we today? And the next thing you need to do is envision that future state that you want to get to. And so if you had a core platform that could do anything you want, what would that look like? What does that actually mean for your business if the tools weren't in your way? Once you have that, where you are and where you want to go, that's going to give you a framework so that you can actually evaluate what you need. Because let's be honest, at some point in your career, in your journey, wherever you currently are at whatever company, you're going to evaluate new tools and new technology. And so the key is to look for new tools and technology that are built with a centralized data model at their core. And so this means considering platforms with composability in mind. And so you're going to want to look for integration platforms that simplify the process of pulling in all that data into a single source of truth. So like actually you're going to be looking for like an iPaaS, an integration platform as a service. You're also going to want to look for platforms that allow you to run smaller independent applications. And again, that's going to allow you to swap them out in a componentized way. And then the real kicker of a fantastic platform is having a really rich ecosystem, because it is amazing from a speed perspective, a cost perspective, an experimentation perspective, when the integration is already pre-built for you and all you have to do is configure it and plug it in. So to be clear, unified architecture doesn't mean a single source of truth or a single system of work or a single system of reference all wrapped up in one. Now, Brian had explained this earlier, but often when you have such a large team, you're going to be using a variety of different tools. And it's not about finding that one system that works for absolutely everyone. No, the reality is everyone has different skills, everyone has different preferences. What you want to do is consolidate that data into one siloed system. And as Brian had said, like, there's a lot of concerns with governance and control when you do that. Hopefully you're not moving PCI data, but it's still something to be mindful of. But the whole point is once you've consolidated it into that single source of truth system, every other system calls the source of truth, not the system of work or system of reference. That's the ultimate difference. And so I'm going to talk about Shopify once, and then I'll stop. But consider our platform approach. So while it is a very comprehensive product suite out of the box, the architecture is also designed for composability. And so what that means is that Shopify provides core commerce capabilities, but also allows for extensive customizations and integrations with third parties. So this, again, it's going to enable brands to tailor their tech stack to specific needs and evolve it over time without massive overhauls. So take Syndigo as an example for product content. Syndigo would be the source of truth. Shopify would be the system of reference. And because we have a great partnership, there's already an out-of-the-box integration ready to rock. That is a beautiful ecosystem of, I guess, like capabilities working together. And this becomes the bedrock for fast and profitable growth when you have a unified commerce platform that is composable, fast, and extensible for your needs. But truly, it is beyond just streamlining your backend, right? A unified commerce strategy is fundamentally about delivering a superior and consistent experience to your customers. So the reason why your architecture is so important is because you can empower It can empower you to select those best-of-breed solutions for different aspects of your commerce operations. And then you can connect them through those APIs I mentioned. So this allows you to cater to the rising customer expectations and those changing customer expectations pretty quickly. So let's explore what these expectations are, and more importantly, what you can do with a unified view of the customer data and their interactions. The first thing you can do is deliver highly personalized experiences across all touchpoints. The most important part of this step is a vision and a strategy on how you want to use the data. It's not just about collecting it. So let me give you an example. If you are a food brand, which many of you are, and perhaps you're making suggestions on meals that I can eat every week, but somewhere in our relationship, you asked me what my allergies were, and I told you I was allergic to mangoes, and then you market me or advertise to me options for my meals this week that include mangoes, that's not gonna feel personal. In fact, it's quite the opposite, right? So when you think about it, it's like, why did you bother asking me what my allergies were if it wasn't going to personalize my experiences as a result of that? So unified commerce aims to make customer interactions easy and enjoyable across all channels. And so that is no longer optional for you as a brand. That is essential for your survival and growth. You can implement a system that automatically consolidates your customer data across all channels as soon as you collect that data. The best way or the easiest way to do that in your existing tech stack is to look for an iPaaS if you're not already doing that. The next is that you're going to want to apply AI-driven insights, which many people have talked about today, but that's going to allow you to move from generic marketing and deliver truly relevant experiences that resonate with your customers. And finally, you can implement personalized storefront experiences, or storefronts, actually, for leveraging customer data for dynamic content and timely product recommendations and localized pricing and more. There's so much you can do with the data once you have a plan for how you actually want to use it. Another key strategy that we have heard quite a bit about is making this data work for you to offer cross-sells, upsells, and really unify that loyalty program to make sure it's effective. So based on purchase history and browsing behavior, you can offer relevant product recommendations during the customer journey and at checkout. You don't have to wait until the end if you have this. But the only way to do this is by pulling from a unified source that is fairly real time. Because if it's not fairly real time, you run the risk that your recommendations are not all that relevant. Memorial Day weekend is coming up. If you do not understand that I am looking for a healthy cheese dip and you keep marketing me something else, that's not all that relevant, is it? And so when you think about it, it's all about not just collecting the data, but how do you want to use it? Now, when we live in this omni-channel world, this multi-channel world, implementing a loyalty program that generates points not only across channels, but then allows you to redeem them across channels, that is the difference between a unified loyalty program and one that is sticky. So one other area to focus on is optimizing the checkout process to be as smooth and as frictionless as possible. And this means reducing cart abandonment, improving conversion rates, etc. Providing customers with what they want to see in their checkout, like their preferred payment method, is essential for a positive experience. So for example, here in North America, we have pretty few payment options that we would expect to see in the checkout. It is what I would actually say is quite cute compared to what EMEA customers experience and expect. And so the right platform is going to allow you to configure what it is that you need as a business, but then use your unified data profile to only show your customer the payment options that are relevant to them. So for example, here in North America, we're not going to see anything that's relevant to EMEA, but because I'm in Canada, I'm also not going to see Venmo because we don't have that. But you guys also wouldn't see e-transfer because you don't have that, for example. That all stems from not only just a personalized storefront, but also that unified customer profile. So the next is you want to utilize features like safe payment methods for address details and your digital wallets or buy now, pay later options, because what that does is it completes the checkout for the buyer pretty quickly. So all of those fields that someone has to go through, make it easy. Make those things go away by turning on different tools for them. And then finally, make sure that you are consistent across all of your channels. So your checkout experience is consistent across all of your channels, because that is going to ensure that you can run the same logic, use the same data, and not duplicate your business logic in various bits of code. And that's going to eliminate inconsistencies and make it really easy for your buyer to switch between channels and keep getting the same result. So when your customers experience this seamless journey, they are most likely going to trust your brand and remain loyal. These connected experiences build stronger relationships and drive increased customer lifetime value. And that is the total difference between having the data and then using that data to unlock the next level of commerce for you and your brand. But don't just take my word for it. Here are some examples of brands that have leveraged unified commerce for significant growth and experimentation. So Tecovas, for example, they created unique in-store experiences while seamlessly targeting their online presence through point of sale. And what they did is they blended their digital and physical customer journeys. Carrier, on the other hand, they launched e-commerce sites 90% faster at 10% of the cost, and they defined an architectural blueprint across all of its sub-brands to repeat that model. You can bet all of those pre-built customer integrations were part of that blueprint. And CarToys, they migrated to a platform with a centralized data model, and now they can offer better in-store experiences better information on their website and better in-store experiences, because they can allow their customers to know what the level of inventory is easily and upfront on their product page. And if they're in store and something's out of stock, they can hold it at another store, no problem. Why? Because their system was designed for it. Whew, I feel like I've been talking fast, but I'm right on time. Okay, so the next logical step is making sure that that understanding translates into real value for you as a merchant and for your customer. You need to make sure that you have the right information available at the right time, no matter the channel that your customer is experiencing or touching your brand on. And that requires that your data is flowing seamlessly to make everything work better together. So one of the most immediate impacts of a unified commerce strategy is the accuracy of information we can provide to customers. This isn't just a nice to have, it is a fundamental expectation they have based on their experiences with leading digital-first businesses. Buyers expect to know in real time if a product is available, what the stock is, and regardless if they're browsing online, on the phone, or even in store, they expect all of this information to be available to them, and most importantly, consistent. If I'm talking to someone on the phone, your support team, and they say, oh, there's only 4 in stock, but on the web I see 10, it doesn't matter what the real number is. You've lost my trust because it's not the same and it's not accurate. So this accuracy that we can offer our customers, that is a direct outcome of having a single source of truth for our core business data. And when data flows seamlessly in real time, it unlocks powerful capabilities that directly improve that customer experience. And today's customers, my gosh, they're savvy. They understand that we collect data about their interactions, and they are increasingly expecting us to use that to make their journeys and their experiences with us even better and more personalized. They also get frustrated when they have to give you information more than once, and they get really annoyed when they receive generic offers that aren't relevant based on their past behaviors. So I flew in here like many of you, but I came from an international airport, and I had to show my passport like 5 or 6 times. The time that I got called to go to my gate to scan my passport yet again, do you know what went through my head? You already know I'm here. Why are you asking me for information again? Fix your systems is what went through my head. And the reason being that this would happen is one of two things. They either have siloed systems, which is the true because it's airports, or they have high latency in passing that data back into their unified system. But given it's airports and it's multi-companies, it's most likely siloed systems. So it's not just about having the data, like I mentioned, right? It's about how you use that data to benefit your business. So a unified commerce platform facilitates a two-way flow of data, not just from the customer to your systems, but also back into your operation and decision-making processes. So this two-way data flow, it allows you to learn from customer behavior and continuously optimize your business. The underlying architecture of a unified commerce platform, with its centralized data model and robust APIs, I hope I'm teaching you guys all the tech lingo, that is what enables the seamless data flow. So the main tactic here is architecture and automation of the data into a unified system. Don't forget that, okay? But let's unpack some key areas to focus on here. So that single source of truth, that inherently addresses accuracy. However, that's really only true if the data is available and being updated in real time. And using your data intelligently, that means designing your systems and processes around delivering value to your customers at every stage of their journey with you, regardless of what that looks like. So this all brings that back to that two-way data flow, right? And again, you're gonna have main systems that the data could originate from. But the way you get into that unified, non-siloed data set is ensuring that all the data moves back there, and then all of those systems leverage that single source of truth and not any of the references or any of the systems of work. It's all about taking that data and making it work for you in a meaningful and impactful way. So a unified approach can truly supercharge your growth engine through some smart omni-channel moves. It's not just about being everywhere, right? It's about making everywhere you are count. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're doing it half-assed, why do it at all? Your customers today, they expect you to interact with them on their terms. That's where a unified commerce strategy really shines, especially when it comes to things like self-service and getting your message out there effectively. So self-service, I think a lot of people are intimidated by this. It's not a bad thing, especially not in B2B, even though it might feel that way to start. Platforms built on unified data make real-time inventory native. Think about Tecovas that I had shared, right? Letting online shoppers see store availability and encourage in-person visits, that's not just convenient, that reduces abandoned cart rate and drives foot traffic. That's strategy. By supporting seamless returns across channels, you can make it easy for customers to buy online and return in store, or vice versa. And this builds trust and removes friction from the buying process, all fueled by a central order system and customer data system. Now, you can leverage that one view and offer personalized recommendations in your self-service experience and use AI for dynamic recommendations and chatbots to help answer some of those FAQs that they're gonna have along the way. And that empowers customers independently to find what they need faster, leading to higher conversion rates. But getting your message out there, as we've heard, is to do that effectively, that really means that your marketing efforts have to be smarter, more targeted, and ultimately more effective. Personalize your ad creative and targeting across different channels using insights from that unified profile, right? Think about your purchasing history, your buying behavior, your loyalty data, your allergy information, whatever the unique attribute is that you have on your customer, use it. Get a clear picture of which touch points are driving conversions, regardless of initial interactions, because what that's gonna do is that's gonna help you optimize your media spend. And that's gonna help you further understand the true impact of your omni-channel strategy so you can stop blasting generic ads to everyone and start using your rich, unified first-party customer data to target more effectively and efficiently. So I'll give you an example. You send me an email about Memorial Day weekend and the image is someone eating a mango. That doesn't resonate with me. I'm allergic to mangoes. Skip. Make that a nectarine. Boom, you've got my attention. Is that really that much effort for you as a brand? Not really. It's just a couple images that you would swap out dynamically. So as you go, think about possible built-in marketing tools that you could leverage to find more customers that look like your best ones. And what's really interesting about unified commerce platforms, like I'd mentioned, is they have these robust partner ecosystems. And you can bet they also have really interesting ways to extend your marketing and your advertising efforts. And it might be something that you really want to leverage, because what's beautiful about it is it's already pre-connected into your source of truth dataset. So if it hasn't been clear enough, your architecture is your critical foundation for all of this to be possible. And changing architecture is transformation, something that we've heard a little bit about today already. So successful move to unified commerce isn't just about bolting in new tech and saying done. It has to be a thoughtful and intentional plan, and one that brings the whole organization along. You need a clear strategy that everyone is bought into. This isn't just about picking a platform. It's about understanding your current state, defining that future vision, and then deciding what are the exact steps to get there. When you think about this whole transformation, one of the most important things you could do is know your why and make sure every single person at the company also knows your why. And the reason being is you're going to divide and conquer, and you're going to have tons of people contributing to this big initiative, and they're going to have to make decisions every step of the way. And if they don't know why they're doing what they're doing, what that's going to lead to is a loss of momentum. And just like the next point here, as all of those teams are working together, if you have not mandated that they prioritize the customer experience, what's going to happen is as they are debating how to navigate a challenge, they're going to make a trade-off decision. Every decision is a trade-off decision, but they're going to make a trade-off decision. And you do not ever want them making that trade-off on the behalf of your customer experience. You always want them prioritizing it, even if it means that like the solution for a technical problem is a little bit harder. That's the right trade-off, at least in my mind. Something else you want to be considerate of is this idea called Conway's Law, which is basically saying that your product will be a direct reflection of your organization's structure. So along the way, you're going to need to actively break down silos between teams to ensure that a truly unified customer journey is what you're building. So this could be reorganizing teams at some point in your transformation journey to be more customer-centric than channel-specific. If you have any ideas on Conway's Law or potential challenges that you're facing, find me after. I used to be the engineering program manager at Shopify. I have done tons of transformations. So lots of trade-off decisions along the way. Another one of my favorite sayings is, planning is everything, but planning is useless, by Eisenhower. And what it means is the process of planning, the discussions, the alignment, understanding of dependencies, that is invaluable. But the plan itself will inevitably need to adapt as you actually start putting it into place. So be detailed in your planning up front, take the time to invest in it, but be agile, because inevitably, it's not going to go perfect. And this might sound counterintuitive, but I love another phrase called slow down to speed up. And so take the time up front to lay that solid foundation and build a plan. Get aligned and plan properly. And that's going to ultimately lead you to a more successful and faster transformation. So transforming to a unified commerce model isn't just a technical upgrade, it's a strategic business initiative, and one that you're gonna have to make sure you've got buy-in every step of the way for it to actually get pulled off. I believe we kicked off this morning that said 70% of tech transformations fail. A lot of it is because they don't plan properly. So maybe take a picture of this if you're gonna think about implementing a big transformation in your future. So if you took anything away from today, Remember that your architecture is everything. And if you aren't investing in it and evolving in it, it's likely holding you back. Unified commerce is no longer a futuristic concept. It's a foundational architecture for your modern, customer-centric brands, and it's a fundamental shift in how you think about your business and your customers. And it happens to be the dominant modern business strategy right now. Embracing it, that's going to lay the foundation for a continued innovation and competitive edge in your business for years to come. Thank you so much.